Hello, Tosin.
Hi, Derin.
It's amazing to be here again, and I'm particularly excited today. Aside the colors I see that you have on, I love your colors. I love yellow and I love the beads.
Thank you.
They're really speaking my name, but we'll do that after the show. I'm just excited that we're here again. We're always, trying to, do this recording just to ensure that our community is blessed. And we are impacting, we're, encouraging. So I want to say welcome everyone to another edition of Unscripted TV with Derin and
Tosin Shosoya is my name.
Amazing. And we're here to impact, we're here to educate, we're here to, just make our lives better, to connect with our community and to learn also, right? Because the only constant thing is change, to see. And last week we had talked about, the power of community. That is, while you're waiting, you are making the best of the community you have, and you're not just hiding yourself away like the singletons, like Tosin said last time. I really love that word and I kept it, because it's important that you are in the park, that you belong to a park, because your park will continue to protect you. Absolutely. And to, encourage you and to strengthen you. But that was, the last episode. But guess what? We are here with a hotter topic to discuss. And today we'll be discussing on a topic that I'm not just going to let out just like that. I'm going to allow Tosin to tell us a little bit about it before we get into it. So come along and have fun with us.
Once again, welcome everyone. Thank you, Derin, for the powerful welcome. Just in case you missed it, this is Unscripted, where everything goes as the spirit flows. This is the show you've always been looking out for, because what is there to miss? It's girls just This is our girls convo, and we're inviting you to our couch to listen to the girls convo.
Come on up, guys.
Okay, so this week, we have an interesting topic that we want to, gist about.
I told you guys.
And it's one that is relatable. Trust me, very relatable. Whether at work, in your marriage, at home, at school, wherever you have more than one person. Actually, even within yourself. Because we're talking about conflicts. Yes, conflicts. Conflict resolution. How do you resolve conflicts? And Derin, we can be conflicted with ourselves.
Oh, yeah.
Lack of congruence, what people call lack of congruence, right? Incongruence in within you, where your spirit, your soul, your body are in different directions. So how do we resolve conflicts? So then we're not looking at conflicts within us, we're looking at conflicts with other people, whether at work, in the family, among siblings, in marriage, in church.
Conflict just has a way of rearing its head everywhere.
Absolutely.
There's absolutely anywhere you want to get to that, you won't find conflict.
True.
Within the team, you have whatever team, whether home, because a family is a team, right? You find conflict there. Conflict between father and son, father and daughter, mother and daughter. You find conflict within the office space, to say you find conflict in the church. Some people were like, oh my God, I'm sure some people are like, oh, are you serious, in the church? Oh yes, because anywhere you find people, there will always be conflict.
Before you think about church, even among Jesus' disciples.
Oh yeah, I was gonna get there.
There was conflict.
I was gonna get there, guys.
What? The disciples were like, this one are following this man. Who is going to be the head? Who is going to be? There was conflict.
Who is going to sit beside you?
Who's going to sit beside you? There was conflict, right? And then you just gave them the master plan answer, like you have to be a servant first. So there's conflict everywhere. Amazing. And we want to start by saying that there's a healthy level of conflicts. Like conflicts can be healthy. It is healthy to a reasonable, extent. Because without conflicts, you can't come to understanding. True. And I'd like to say again that relationships, whether at work, in school, within teams, like Derin said, are supposed to be a united front where unity is the word and not uniformity.
I was going to say that when you said united front, I was like, Tosin, you have to clear this, because unity is not uniformity. It's not that we have the same idea, we like the same idea,
or always think the same way, or always wear the same thing, say the same thing, see the same way. We don't always have to see the same way all the time. We just need to come to a place of agreement. There has to be a united front. When we say united front, it's like what you have when the black, the red, yellow, and red, it come together to form a new color. So when the problem is when black is saying I want to outshine, red is saying I want to outshine, blue is saying I want to outshine.
I'm so sorry to cut you, guys. While we're still on the conflict topic, we just want to say thank you to one our first sponsor, Haviva Creations. Thank you
Shout
so
out
much.
To you, babe. Thank you.
Thank you so much for you. We're gonna leave our link, their link in our bio. You can actually click on there. They customize a lot of beautiful things. They can customize your t-shirts, your cups, your the latest one I saw them with a cup.
Oh, really?
Yeah, summer cup kind of, they had it customized. So Haviva Creations, we just want to say thank you. Thank you for being part of our community. So Tosin, while you were talking, what came to mind, was you said you could have red, black, blue, the most important part is that we are combined in the right proportions.
In the right proportions.
I thought about cooking.
Okay, cool.
If you want to make a beautiful pot of soup, guys, we will need different ingredients. But the moment an ingredient becomes more than is necessary,
Okay, I get you, Derin. So if I'm making a pot of rice, for example, I'll definitely have more rice. But if the salt says I want to be of the same quantity as rice, then there's gonna be a problem because it's not needed at that proportion. Just a little bit of it goes a long way, and the effect will still be felt, and people will still say, "Oh, this is nice, this is good." Because when it goes out of proportion and becomes salty, and that's not nice, right? And if you're making a pot of stew, just like you said, imagine water saying, "I want to be overpowering, I want to have the majority." Then what are we having? That's pepper soup, like. It's not going to be a pot of stew, right? So the point here is everybody understanding their place. When do I have to be loud? When do I have to go low? When do I have to be meek? When do I have to be overpowering? When do I have to be not overpowering? When do I have to be strong? When do I have to be loud? And when do I need to be quiet, meek, and gentle? Because truth be told, if you're having a conflict with your children, for example, that happens a lot, right? It's still conflict. And we're in a generation where children, the first thing they will tell you is, "Mommy, why?"
Yeah, they're very, vocal.
Why?
They're very vocal and highly opinionated, and it's not their fault. It's the generation they belong to.
And that's okay. I don't have a problem with that. The issue here is, do you have answers, or do you want to use anger and a loud voice to overpower the inquisitiveness? Because sometimes you just shut them down without providing answers, and we get worried when we go outside to look for answers. And there are also instances where you won't be your children's friend. You have to be a parent.
They put your foot down.
No, there are times where you need to put your foot down, be a parent, shut them down, shut it down, and not be their best friend at that time, because it's for their own good.
And you know why, I always want to start when talking about conflict from, having a shared understanding, right? If you are within any team, I read a book sometimes, and I learned from the book that the problem most teams have is, it arises from unresolved assumptions. All right, I assume that mommy should understand this. I assume that, my son should know how to talk to me in the presence of, my friends, or should know how to address me, or whatever. No assumptions. Unresolved assumptions is what, leads to conflicts most of the time within teams, whether family, whether, with friends, whether, so how can we resolve this? We have to have a shared goal, shared agreement, shared understanding. Yes, shared understanding. Within the home, we know daddy, we know this, we know our guide, and the guide is open, and we know that step by step we'll follow this. It's like you are within an organization and you are asked to work without being given a procedure. And then you're being appraised saying that you haven't performed. Then the organization has failed, not you.
Wow, Derin, that's powerful. Coming from what you started with, how about we have a common goal that this conflict will be resolved?
Preaching.
Yeah, because when you enter a conflict with a mind that is going to be resolved, then we'll both be looking for solutions.
Yeah.
Not the way to check out.
I like that. So our focus will not be on individuals.
Yeah.
Our focus will be on the problem.
On the problem. And that brings me to my second point of learn to separate the person from the issue. Because if sometimes people make mistakes, but we can't stereotype them or label them based on that. For example, if a spouse in a marriage does something wrong, you say, I know that's how all men behave.
Generalization.
You cannot stereotype people. You can't say, oh, that's how everybody from this tribe behaves, or this is how all fair people behave. People have funny ways of labeling people.
And let's even bring it to that person. The fact that somebody, Tosin, did something wrong right now doesn't make Tosin a bad person. It would be wrong of me to say, Tosin, you're a bad person. No. Tosin has done something wrong. Right?
So
let's address
what Tosin has done wrong at this time, and not what she did yesterday.
Not labeling Tosin based on what she has just done.
Yeah, with parents,
we do that a lot.
Yeah,
kids.
Just because a kid misplaced something, you don't call that person a careless child. Because is all their life careless? No, let's talk about it. So stop labeling people based on a particular action.
Yeah.
You understand? Yeah. Separate the person. In marriage, for example, separate your spouse from the issue at hand. For example, money, we know, is a deciding factor in a marriage. People's character can change based on how much money they have in their pockets.
Yeah.
When they are rich, some people are calm, happy, easygoing, whatever. If you insult them, they don't even care. But when they are broke or things are not going the way they want, any comments will be perceived as insult.
Yeah.
Any joke can be perceived as a sly comment, and they won't take it funny at all. So at that time, it's not necessarily what the person has done. It's because of your current mental state. Okay? So I want us to also come to a place where we begin to understand people. I'll give you an example. I have a friend that when her kids, for example, are jumping on the couch like this, she's going to blow out of proportion. She's going to start screaming, sitting down, start wailing and crying. No jokes. Like, no jokes. She's going to be crying. Like, oh, so what's going to happen? I'm like, hello. Yeah, I know the kid can fall, but why are you so dramatic? And then you start hearing things like, if she falls, she's going to break her leg. When she breaks her leg, we'll go to the hospital. We'll pay a lot of money. But we'll not pay a lot of money. I won't be able to go to work. So she's not addressing the fact that the child is on the chair. She has over-processed the whole thing. She's already thinking of the financial implication, how much time and emotion is going to take from her, what's going to happen to... I think she has over-analyzed the whole thing. And I'm like, even the child is shocked. They're like, Mom, Is everything okay?
Mm.
So sometimes people are like that. They take the issue and they blow it out of proportion. It's not necessary. I had to learn it. Okay, I'll give you
Personal example.
Yeah, I don't like to give personal examples, but yeah, let's talk about it.
We can do this to see
Okay, so-
our community needs this.
Okay, so I'm a late night person, right? I don't sleep. I don't like to sleep early. I'm trying to sleep early because I need to wake up early. So one of those days when I didn't sleep early, our last child was still a bit younger, and then she wasn't feeling fine. Okay, but everybody had gone to bed, and I assumed because everybody was in bed, I could face my laptop and do whatever I was doing. So I didn't bother checking again after I had checked the last time. So I slept around 4 a.m. Then around 6 a.m., like barely 2 hours I slept, my husband came and woke me up and told me our last baby had, thrown off. She was puking, she was vomiting, and all of that. So my point, number one, you woke me up, I was just sleeping. Number two, you woke me up to come clear up the mess. And I'm like, why didn't you guys, like my husband, my first son, my first daughter, you guys could have at least attempted to clean up this mess.
To attend to the
girl before waking me up. They didn't. And then the my last baby was still there, running temperature and all. So I got up, cleaned up the mess, attended to the baby, and then my husband was frowning, like his face was not smiling like his usual face. So I was not like, you woke me up from bed, you're judging me. That was me thinking, oh, you're judging me that only a bad mother will be sleeping while their baby is throwing up. You're judging me that I wasn't there. I was just over processing.
Those were your assumptions.
Those were my personal assumptions.
Yeah.
So 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, and I told myself that this morning you're not going to get a good morning from me. Like no good morning. You want to be carrying that face. I'm carrying my face too. Nigerians understand that language. So I didn't say anything. I just went on as though nothing happened. It was later around 9 a.m. it dropped to my mind like, come on guys, I did some emotional intelligence training. I coach people on emotional intelligence. Like, okay. So emotional intelligence, have you asked them or are you acting on assumptions? And I realized that, oh, these were here as a main purely assumptions. Like I'm assuming that he's judging me. I'm assuming that he's thinking I'm a bad person for sleeping while my baby is not feeling fine. I'm assuming all sort of things. So then I felt, okay, and I was not telling myself that, okay, you want me to ask him. You will find out that that's what he's actually thinking. And I was like, okay, why is your face squeezed up? Why are you not smiling? Like, the baby will be fine and all that. And guess what my husband told me? He said, I've been thinking that we stress you too much in this house.
Guys, did you hear that? As in, Tosin, I don't know what other example you could have given that would have nailed this on the head. Because you assumed that he felt you had done several wrongs. And how many of us really, guys, assume a lot of things at work? You see someone's face and you just assume that he doesn't like me. Oh, my boss doesn't like me. He's always, and I'm going to get to a place where I'll allow Tosin to finish, to learn.
Yeah. And guess what? He was like, I'm thinking, would you like to go to a spa?
Oh my God. Guys, would you like to go to a spa when you were thinking you have been so wrong?
Honestly.
Oh my God.
I'm not sure. I can't remember if I went to the spa. I'm sure I collected the money, Sha.
I would have collected it for you today.
Right? So my point is, sometimes don't stay on the value of assumption. You gotta ask and be sure that what you're thinking is actually what they're saying.
Amazing.
And sometimes when people are actually saying, they're not saying what you think they are saying. You might be hearing A, B, C, but they're coming from an A1, A2, A3 that you have no idea about.
Okay, guys, I was going to hold this back, but I'll talk about it just to, build on what Tosin had said. I'm going to talk about when I first got married. By the way, I'm just a young person in marriage. We turned 14 recently. So I would assume it was our first or second year thereabouts in marriage. And we had this help that was sent to the house for us. And she had just come in and, to support us, in the home, help with things. Was a young lady. And I particularly noticed that she liked to put on short skirts, but that wasn't an issue for me. I was a busy career lady, would leave the house in the morning, come back. So I needed that, extra help, especially with the little baby that I had, my first son. And so one night, I work. Okay, let's start. I work. In our spare time, I had this conversation with some of my friends, my colleagues at work, and we're talking about how helps would, come over, take over your home, take over your man and everything. As I was listening to it, my brain was giving me pictures of the help, the person that was in my house that had particularly liked to put on short skirts. And because I kept meditating on it. We don't know, guys. We assume things and we start to meditate on it. And because we are meditating on it, hey, the devil will help to paint bigger pictures around it. And I didn't tell them, but he brought, the conversations around that. Because I had seen, built on a picture from my home. And then when I got to the house in the evening that particular day, funny. I got into the house. I saw the girl in my kitchen, which was, opposite or adjacent to my dining.
Okay.
And my husband was seated on the dining table directly opposite where the girl was. And he was working on his computers. And I saw the girl on a stool trying to stretch with her short skirts. My husband opposite that, and I just, painted a picture in my head. Oh my God, I stormed out of the house. And I started crying on the road by myself, angry about the situation.
No discussion, nothing to nobody.
Absolutely nothing. I just started crying about it. So when I stormed out of the house, my husband was shocked that you had just come in. What happened? He called me, I didn't pick. And then I just strolled on the streets and I was crying. I was boiling that, what is it? What have I brought upon myself? What have you brought upon yourself? And then the Holy Spirit just told me then, what have you brought upon yourself? Did you even ask? And then you had the power to tell the girl to change what she was had on. But I forgot all the power that I wielded at that time. And all I could just think about was somebody was trying to take over my home, because I had listened to it and I had ruminated on it and I had built a picture and the devil expanded it for me. And, I got back into the house. I told my husband, I said, my mind, as in that same day, he picked up his phone, he called the person that brought the girl and asked the person to come pick her up. That, look, I do not want any form of, lack of peace within my home. But then he taught me a lesson that, look, maybe you should discuss some things. Even if you notice that the girl had on, an outfit that you were not comfortable with, we could make things for her. We could, discuss
give
this and everything.
Give her a uniform.
That taught me a lesson. It taught me a lesson, but it almost ruined me. Right? It gave me high blood pressure that I did not need, just like Tosin was assuming that our people were angry with her because she went to sleep instead of taking care of their baby. Meanwhile, the husband was actually thinking, how can I make life better for this person? Absolutely. So how many of us are out there, maybe in our workplaces, we've assumed that people do not like us. And because we have that assumption, then we keep hearing things that are related, to that around us. And because of that, we keep building pictures around that. And then you will talk in the meeting the following day because your boss is in a hurry, will say, oh, Derin, sorry, I'm going to take you away from her. You're like, oh, she doesn't like me. She doesn't like to hear my voice. She doesn't. Meanwhile, she's already noted you for the next promotion, but you don't know. But because of your attitude, you're going to kill yourself and ruin the whole process. So what are we saying? Conflict comes from unresolved assumptions. So the number one thing is, when you see something that you're unclear about, like Tosin said, Open communication is super important. Talk about it.
Yeah, very important.
In a professional environment, talk about it professionally, right? Go through the laid down procedure or policies to address the issue. Don't put laws into your hands. Don't start acting in a funny way. Address that professionally. In the home, talk about it. Be open about it. Who knows? The solution you need is just at the tip of your fingers. A uniform, for crying out loud, would have solved my problem.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. I'm glad that eventually it came around. And of course, that could have gone on for days of malice.
Oh my God.
There'll be malice, and then things will start climbing on top of each other. And then we'll just even remember what even caused it.
And then we'll just say we have unresolved, differences.
So, and the issue also, there might be times where somebody's actually wrong.
Yeah.
That's a given.
Yeah.
One person, one party, or both parties might actually be wrong. Like they've done something probably unforgivable. But we're saying that even in that instance, can we have a bit of empathy? And try to understand where the person is coming from? Why did they do what they did? Is it in their character, or was it out of character? Is it something we can help understand them for and help them walk through that phase of their life? So we're saying that, can there be a bit of more understanding and empathy? Yeah, we're pained, we're hurt, we want to let it go. But like one of my friends said, that sometimes what we're doing is actually trying to kill a mosquito with a sledgehammer.
Oh my God, guys. Killing the mosquito with a sledgehammer.
Come on. How effective is that? We're going to destroy the surface. We're going to destroy all things. Because
crash the table
because you might not even get the mosquito at the end of the day. And you'd have ended up destroying the whole house. So before you go on a flare and before you blare out, think about it. Am I killing a mosquito with a sledgehammer? You got that from us here.
Amazing.
And can I be a bit more understanding or a bit more empathetic? And we're not even asking for too much. We're just saying that before you take that action or before you make that final decision, do you want to take a break? And then pause, like the Bible says, Selah. Pause and think.
Selah, guys.
Pause and think, because when I was teaching my kids how to manage their yell, to control the yelling and the shouting in the house, I told them that before you blurt out, can you count 1 to 8?
Count 1 to 8, guys. So pause.
And then it's even fun now with this 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 6, 7, 8, 7, 8, 8. The TikTok thing that's going on. So can we adopt that and just take that in? If you can meditate on scriptures, if that helps you, but sometimes you don't even remember scriptures to meditate on.
For real, to be practical, we don't even remember. So scriptures.
Can you go on the TikTok and just take some that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and just before you let it go, so that you don't say things that you will regret, or you don't do things that you regret eventually. I think that should really help us. And when we have actually come to the place of discussion, can we hear them out?
Actively listen.
That's the word.
Actively listen. Yeah.
Listen to them actively.
Yeah.
Hear them out. And be sure you're hearing them and not what you want to hear. Because sometimes people are saying things but hearing something else. So hear what they're actually saying. Because imagine
you're packing a whole lot into this. Guys, what I've heard us talk about here is, number 1, open communication. Be open. Talk about it. But talk about it in a way that would not impact on the other party negatively. I know that it's hard. Sometimes, like Tosin said, the person is wrong, or we know that we're wrong, or whichever way, it could be the other way around. But while even at that, pause. Take a breather. calm down. I like that, phrase, mommy, calm down, right? And if daddy out there, calm down. Just pause.
It's not easy.
It's not easy, but, just count the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Take a cone of ice cream.
I would believe that 8 is too long. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah.
Just calm your nerves and then calm yourself. And then I think we will be able to then actively listen to the other person. Yeah. And while we are listening, we are also empathizing, knowing that, look, unity is not uniformity. The fact that this person has a differing opinion about this issue doesn't make them bad or doesn't make them wrong. And a lot of times within the team in an office space, we always make that mistake. We feel, oh yes, I have a stellar idea, and you share it and somebody says, no, I think this is better, whatever. And you're like, hurt. No, take a moment, take a breather, listen to them. As a matter of fact, guess what? At the end of the day, the idea that you're sharing may even benefit from what they have brought. So it's not, don't create a conflict or don't assume a conflict when none actually existed. Don't be like Tosin, right? When, we were actually planning a getaway for her, and she was, assumed it was a beta party, right?
So, and finally, as we round up, we would like to say that even when there is a conflict and you are mad at each other, can you remove yourselves from the environment that stresses you? When the conflict happened, remove yourself from that environment and actually have a conversation. We're not saying sweep your conflicts under the carpet. No, that's not the point, because that doesn't help a relationship. At the end of the day, it's like a compressed spring. It's going to blot out and things are going to explode.
Yeah,
so
you're going to break tables.
No, that's not what we're saying. We're saying that please deal with conflicts, but deal with it with understanding, with empathy, with active listening, open communication. Remove the person from that environment, go to a more relaxed environment, take a walk in the park, go to your garden, go to a restaurant, in a more relaxed environment where it's actually more difficult for the person to throw up and throw tantrums and all of those things, and have this conversation amicably. If that doesn't work, invite a third person without bias, a third party without bias, an elder, but an elder does not have to be older. An elder does not have to be older.
And doesn't have to be a church elder. It doesn't have to be a church elder. So sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to add to the fact that, what you just said now. The scripture says that, is anyone ill amongst you? Let him pray. A lot of times we attach illness to physical ailment, but no, when you have unresolved assumptions, when you have, conflicts brewing, you will know, and then the atmosphere, the tension, there's so much tension in the air within where you work or at home or wherever you find yourself. The Bible says, let him pray. It's a lack of ease, it's a dis-ease, so let him pray. So pray. And part of prayer is that pause moment. Holy Spirit, help me. I need help.
Yeah. And then I remember something. Sorry, somebody said when the preacher, we're not preaching here. When the preacher says finally, there are good 2 more finalists to go. But here, we're not preaching, guys. But here, one more thing. Especially for the Christian folks out there.
Yeah.
Don't worry, this is going to be finally. I want to say that when Derin said pray, that's very important. That has helped me a lot in my relationships.
Yeah. Especially
in marriage. Which begs the question, who is your spouse? And who is your father-in-law? Is it the devil? If God is your father-in-law, then you can say, God, talk to your son. Talk to your daughter. But if the devil is your father-in-law,
what can you do?
Yeah. So, that's very important. That's a very important thing.
We're gonna be, we're gonna have a topic entirely dedicated to choosing your father-in-law.
Who's your father-in-law? I love it. All right, guys. See you next time. And come your way again.
This is
Who's Your Father-in-Law?
And remember, count the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Bye, guys. We
love you. We love you. Mwah.